The hot dog
Kobayashi.
contest. I know you're talking about, but no, it's like
Which I think he got his ass whooped by a white dude. This one
The
white
hot
dude.
dog eating
Yeah,
guy?
there's a white dude out there now that's crushing like
Joey Chestnut has won like the last
Joey
11.
Chestnut.
It's
Yeah,
not
that's what-
new.
Okay, well.
It's like the past
Well,
decade.
it's your
I
era.
wonder
My
how you
era
get that
was
good.
Kobayashi growing up.
Like, how do you become a professional eater? How do you even like enter the leagues?
So-
Do people just? Are you a small town like? They know
I
your
think
name.
you start off at like a
You can
local,
finish 2 Domino's
Yeah.
pizzas.
like a local bar or dive. You go in for a tater tot eating contest or some shit. Next
Yeah.
thing you know, like, oh shit, I smoked everybody.
Yeah.
Maybe I could do something with this.
Yeah, I'm gonna make something of myself.
I'm gonna be somebody.
I can't find the video I was thinking of.
Of Chestnut. That's a
No.
horrible last name, by the way.
Chestnut.
Chestnut. It just seems gross to me, dirty.
Those
Yeah.
guys are like I
Like that
just
chestnut.
feel like I'd need my stomach pumped after eating like 60 something hot dogs.
I feel like so either two things.
Their stomach
they
gets
either
distended.
purge after it, like
Yeah.
tickle
Take Beano
that hang
before.
down, or they've got to have like no food for the next 48 hours. Like
True. I do want. What was I gonna say as far as that goes? What were you saying right before you
I
said?
was saying like their stomach gets distended.
no, before that it was something else.
I couldn't tell you.
Chestnut. Let's say you had a kid, or you had like an unfortunate last name or something like that, or you had a kid and your initials would give them like a funny initial.
yeah,
Would you do it? Would you like mess with them in that way? Would you
I've
ever
known
name them
people
like,
that are named like Kendall or John Johnson or
yeah,
I mean the
Kelly
singer
Kelly?
off the singer off American Idol is like Philip Phillips.
yeah?
Why
that's
would you
true.
name your child that? It's just stupid.
yeah, it is.
Or like
I don't know.
You're just fucking them.
I don't know any.
as soon
What
as they're
would
born.
like if you had like if your last name started with S, would you name your kid like Arnold Schwarzenegger to where it would be like ASS or like I don't know, just funny
Oh.
initials at all?
I don't know if I'd think that deep enough.
Oh,
Probably not.
I don't know.
Maddie's got a tricky last name.
What's hers?
Dix.
Or no,
Dix.
Dix. Yeah.
Yeah, what's hers?
So-
Covington.
I almost fucked
Almost
up.
slipped there.
Fucked
Yeah.
up.
But like yeah, that can be tricky depending on the name you choose.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, no, you're taking her last name, right?
Of course. Of course.
But like imagine
My
a
privilege.
Richard Dix.
Yeah,
Just
no,
Call
Dick
me
Dix.
Dick. Yeah.
Dix.
or Joanna.
Yeah.
That's pretty
All right, let's crack open these drinks.
Yeah.
Dicking around. So we're doing we've done this before. C4 Freedom Ice, very good flavor. Here at Iron Belgium.
Yep.
That is good.
I really like
First
this flavor.
sip. Yeah.
These are so
takes
consistent.
the edge off.
That's real good. That's real good.
Yeah.
Now I'll give my 2 tips right off the bat. Right off the buds.
Yeah.
This, what is it? Bomb Pop?
Basically, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's like Bomb Pop flavor.
Mm-hmm.
In comparison to most, in my opinion, has a nice citrus bite to it. The others are syrupy and like very sweet, oversweetened, and
I'm
don't
not a
have
big,
that like bite at the end of it.
This is good. I don't like you say, a big syrup kind of aftertaste.
Yeah, citrus isn't the right flavor note, but I know where you're going with that.
It has like a citric acid bite to the end of it. Though, like when you drink it, it hits those buds in the back of your tongue where it's like, ooh, that's a little
Yeah.
sour.
It's probably more of a malic acid though, because citrus is more related to like oranges and lemons and limes. You wouldn't get any of that in this. It'd be a different kind of fruit, more like a berry fruit.
Is a cherry a berry,
It's a good question.
or is cherry citric?
I'll look it up.
Citrus.
But now's a great time
I
to
think
talk
berry is related
Yeah.
to the
Cherry
seed
freeze.
structure, if I remember correctly.
You
Because
got
like if you
berries?
think about blueberry, strawberry, like it's multiple seeds, and cherry just has the pit. So cherry would be more like a peach, maybe.
about. Cherries are fruits, and berries
What?
are but cherries are not berries. They are drupes.
What the fuck? All right, we're going too deep into that. Holy shit.
Yeah, it really doesn't even matter.
Cherries, berries. Yeah. Well, anyway, how was your weekend?
Weekend was good. Slept in a bunch, man. I still don't feel like either I've recovered from Hawaii, have COVID.
Allergies.
I'm just kidding. Or just allergies. I've just probably been whooping my ass because I've been waking up at like 1 or 2 a.m. and can't go to sleep for an hour or two because I can't
Dang.
breathe out of either hole in my nose,
That's the worst.
just
Yeah.
mouth breathing,
Yeah.
suffocating in my own pillow. But
Yeah,
it's been good, man.
Do mouth tape.
We shot some content over the weekend,
Yeah,
so
we
that was
did do
good.
that. We did do that.
You know?
Austin got a whole Chick-fil-A order for the sake of a shot.
Yep.
I was impressed.
Yeah. Trying to do it out here,
Yeah.
man.
Someone's got to.
Mm-hmm. But other than that, didn't really do much. Like I said, slept a lot. Actually napped both days, which
Great
I mean,
feeling. Did it on Friday.
it is a great feeling. But then, like, I woke up Sunday and realized that it was like already 7, 8 o'clock. I was like, holy
Oh,
shit,
dang.
man.
And then you're
Like,
screwed.
I
When
kind of got to go right back to bed.
But do you ever have this? Because this happened to me on Friday, but especially on a couch nap, I start to fall asleep. I do fall asleep, and then I like wake up, and it's not that much time that's passed basically since I originally fell asleep. But I start to wake up, and then I'm like half asleep, half awake. And I go to get off the couch, and then I like fall immediately back to sleep within like 3 seconds, but enough time to register that I like tried to wake up basically. And then it happens again, and it happens again.
Hold
Do
on.
you have contacts?
No.
I feel like that's a big thing too. Because one, I don't take naps, but I feel like for a couple reasons, but one of them also being that like if I sleep in my contacts, then they get like real kind of like gross or drowsy like for the rest of the day. And I usually don't carry a case with me or like don't feel like taking one out to put them in.
So you never sit down on the couch and just be like, damn, if I close my
Not
eyes for
once.
1 second, I could pass out.
Not
Yeah.
once. If I feel that way, it's like 8 or 9 o'clock. I'm about ready to go to bed anyway.
But what I was gonna say
Dude,
with
I
that
can do it
is
every hour of the day.
I feel like though when I like barely wake up and then fall back asleep, it's like enough to register to where I feel like I'm almost like having a half dream, half awake, but just thinking that like I can't get up. Like I'm stuck like this. Like I keep trying to get up, but I like my body is pulling me back down into sleep.
Yeah.
So on Friday, like, only 30, 45
You need
minutes
Jocko.
have passed. But I was like I'm trapped. Like if I can wake up long enough, like I need to rush to the gas station and get a bang because otherwise I'm not going to be able to get off the couch.
You might fall asleep in the
Thinks
car.
he's
dude.
glued
Yeah.
to the shit.
I know.
Damn.
So
I've been
it's
that
called
way.
having schizophrenia.
Yeah, sounds like y'all got insomnia or something.
I definitely have something going on. And you ask Sarah, it's probably been it's been a while since I watched a movie completely through.
Oh yeah,
Because if I sit down for any amount of time,
it's a curse.
and I enjoy the movie sometime.
Only like 30
But-
minutes in. Yeah,
Damn.
trust me.
Ow.
And especially if you're watching a movie in bed.
Oh yeah, but
Yeah,
I don't
that
have
makes
a TV.
sense.
I don't have a TV in bed anymore, but
Yeah.
the couch is almost the same to me. Like I can
Yeah.
fall asleep. I can fall asleep on the floor, dude.
Yeah.
Anywhere.
Y'all are bad, man.
If I
Yeah.
stop
I
moving
swear.
for any amount of time,
Especially
my body shuts off.
Yeah, when I was doing school, like even just laying, my old apartment had a cement floor, and I would just lay on that and
Oh.
like go on the laptop, and
Yeah.
then even then would
A nice hard
head in the
floor.
computer. Sometimes I
Do y'all
find that
get good
that's the
sleep
best.
or something? I know you haven't recently. but-
No.
I just I expend a lot of energy, very intense workouts, so I have to
That's
take a
what
lot
it
of
is.
recovery.
That's what it is.
But
yeah.
I was gonna tell you, I was thinking about this. Sometimes I feel like I sleep better. Like sometimes I go without a pillow for a while, and sometimes I've slept on the floor when my back was hurting for a time. And I sometimes feel like the harder surface. I don't know if this is actually a thing, but I feel like sometimes with cushy beds, cushy couches, other things like that,
Yeah.
we kind of get into this like false stability. And I almost feel like that throws you off more. But if you're on a hard surface, you kind of have to brace yourself in ways that you don't on a soft surface. So
Yes.
it almost like rights you again.
That makes sense, but I feel like it depends on the mattress. Like I like a firmer mattress, but still softer. Like on like the
Sleep
top
number.
layer. Yeah, like I feel like I'm not the kind like Maddie will use pillows that are basically like
Worthless.
just limp like sacks,
yep.
you know.
No.
And
I
I
don't
won't
like
do
that.
that. Yeah, I
I
use
like
a
stiff.
My Pillow by Mike Lindell.
Yeah.
and,
we're canceling.
yeah,
I feel like
can't-
all other Fox advertisers have pulled out, and he's still going
Yeah.
strong.
But anyway, I have
So-
one of those, and that you'd expect like some pillow on like a TV commercial to be like super soft and comfy. It's really not that special, but it is a little bit firmer than the average pillow. I feel like in a way.
Yeah.
So like I feel like I remember where I saw this, but I feel like the best technique, at least for your head, is you want to take it and like kind of wrap it like under, so that like I don't know, it kind of naturally like hits, I feel like, your shoulders and keeps your head in like a good neutral position because you don't want to be like raised too high. But without a pillow, your neck will naturally, I feel like, fall slightly behind like your center like spine, I feel like.
Yeah.
And, 1 or 2 nights, it's probably not a big deal. But I don't know. I feel like long term, it probably is still better to have a mattress. But I do agree with your point from a general aspect that I feel like overly like just soft, plush, like we're not made for that, I feel like.
What did you get with your second payment of $19.95?
Oh, I never bought it.
Oh.
My parents did. My parents liked it so
Nice.
much, they bought 2.
Nice.
There's something about a soft mattress.
Like a
For-
hotel.
A Tempur-Pedic fucks me up when I go to the store.
We have a memory foam. It's not Tempur-Pedic brand, but it's a memory foam, and it's soft in its own ways. But in some ways, it can be stiff. Like, but if you sit on it long enough, like everything just loosens up, and it's just like, ugh.
Yeah.
That's a clip. That's a soundbite right there.
Yeah. But I will say something about a soft mattress when it comes to the extracurricular activities it doesn't work.
That's true.
You need
That's
that-
true.
that you need something a
Yeah.
little more stiff.
Well, imagine a
Because-
waterbed.
Oh yeah, like you aren't getting any like
No.
rhythm going.
You get nothing.
No
you're
rhythm.
Fucking
Just
flopping
sinking
around.
in, yeah.
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 That's why you need a prison cot.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Now, a
You just-
firmer bed is definitely better for that. Now, is your bed like raised up on like a
Oh yeah.
whatever?
Oh,
Waist
see.
height.
No, but is it like
Oh.
is it have like a bed frame and everything?
No. Well, I mean, it has like a box that goes around it.
Oh,
Okay,
like
because
box
ours
spring.
is like it's like raised on like a box, but I know
Yeah.
like my one like that I grew up had like a frame and everything, but that thing from like 15 on was squeaky. as
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
And like
Ours no noise.
And
Yeah.
it's got those boards that like fall out from the underside.
mine didn't have that,
Oh.
but it was still like insanely fucking squeaky, and I was like, why the fuck?
You still have that?
Oh, it's gone now.
Okay, I was
Yeah.
about to say.
I will
No.
say, whatever I don't know what it's called, but the thing under the mattress, not maybe
Box spring?
technically, but it's not a spring. But I have like this thing that the mattress sits on,
Yeah,
and
that
it's
you
got
have
these
the-
drawers.
yeah, the drawers.
But
Okay.
it is perfect height. I feel like because it's like just below hip, basically.
Mine's
So
a little
let your mind
lower.
wander.
mine's a little lower than hip, so I'd almost have to do like a
You get on your toes?
wide spread.
Oh,
Yeah,
wide
he gets
spread.
keep
Got it. So
step
it's
ladder.
lower.
Yeah, no, I don't
Gotcha.
gotta do the
So your
toes.
quads are burning.
No, I used to try to pull off the toe thing. I feel like in high school, but it's like your calves, your
No.
balance doesn't work.
Yeah, rhythm still gets thrown off for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, memory foam's good.
What if you're like, wait, babe, let me get my step stool?
Be right back.
Yeah.
Whip
Oh,
it
you're
out.
going for a ride.
It's got a little
Yeah.
cup holder in the
Yeah.
side.
Towel
Sippy
on this
cup,
side.
towel ring.
One hand on the front handle.
TV remote control too.
Yeah, we got
We're in
they're like their
business.
tape wrapped around the handlebar, so
Yeah.
it's like grip.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Maybe it, never mind. I was about to say maybe when I build my own house, I'll have like the perfect like everything will be perfectly
Have the set.
like height, like everything's measured for
Dick
a
height.
performance. There's no like leisure about it. It's all performance in the
Yeah. All business.
all angles.
Yeah, why is the kitchen island at this? It doesn't seem functional. No, but it's
Oh, it is.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ain't food on that. But
There is a spread.
oh shit. But I guess we dive into some updates coming up here soon.
Yeah. Hit
All
it.
or nothing. So
Cherry freeze.
On the
Same
topic of
color palette as these.
GYMFLO.
That's what I said.
Yeah, I don't know if you'll be able to see it in this camera. Probably.
Check out the Instagram for a better picture.
Yeah, got some cool pictures and content coming out along with the drop, and as we hype this up. But really cool flavor, different than all the rest of them. I know we hit on a little bit in a few last shows, but this is cherry freeze. It's like a bomb pop esque with like an extra cherry, like slushy
Yeah, so same
vibe
great
to it.
formula.
Yep.
It's gonna be a good contrast, I think, to like the lime and Monster, which are different in their own right, but like I don't know about you guys, but when I look and I see like green on both labels, I almost like associate them as like the same like category.
I don't.
You know?
Yeah.
I know you may not. But I almost still think like both are like green-ish is like what my subconscious thinks. So then when I see like, not only white tub but blue, I know like cherry's just going to be noticeably different compared to the
Yeah.
others and a little bit sweeter. It makes me very excited.
Yeah. And a bunch of other like cool things that I feel like we hit on.
Yeah, show off that label.
I know, right? Well, obviously we still went with all like the tactile and
little bit of
metallic
foil, right? Yeah.
foil that we have wrapped around like the Green Monster and Walk the Line, so you can feel it. Not only see it, but feel it when you touch it.
Yeah.
You feel the raised
Little
edges and
scratch
stuff.
sniff.
Yeah. And then we updated the ingredient panel, which you probably won't be able to see clearly on the back of this, but
Helps you get a little more educated.
a little bit more educated on what ingredients are in there and what they do. So it's broken down into sections, telling you every aspect of the pre-workout. Should cover you from performance and training, just like we'd hope it would.
Mm-hmm.
Something we would take, obviously.
Absolutely.
But yeah, really excited for this one.
Should be dropping Friday.
Dropping Friday.
Nice.
Sign up for the newsletter, VIP text group.
First to do.
First to know. Might get a sick deal, might not. Maybe it's
maybe fuck you.
Fuck you. Just kidding. We love you, but that was a joke.
Yeah.
Anyways, all other than that, in a few weeks from now, we'll have another party in the gym with some warmer weather coming up. We just want to throw that into people's ears, get some birds
Double check
chirping
the
in
date
your ear.
on that. It will
It's
be
the
the
3rd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So keep an eye on that. Mark your calendar.
Or no, that's
Clear
April.
that.
Temperature's getting warm, y'all.
Oh yeah.
So doors open. Come on out and have a good time.
That's true. Get that pollen in here.
Yeah, get that pollen in your system.
Yeah.
Get used to it. But other than that, what's any other updates we got going on?
So one thing I wrote on the board that I was thinking about, and I texted Griffin Saturday and got no response. But
I was coming into work, basically. I was on
But,
my way over.
so I was watching a video of a bodybuilder that both Griffin and I really like, Evan Centopani. Been with Animal forever, cool dude. Very I feel like traditional with, simple house, big into natural foods and organic lawn mowers and he goes farmers markets and the old butcher and everything. And but real cool dude. I was watching him train at Powerhouse, and I was just getting the feel of kind of what him and Animal kind of do and everything like that, but also the workout itself. It just made me really think again about how all these bodybuilders from years past, basically everyone from before 2000, and even some the better physiques now that I like in people, they just use free weights for 90% of their exercises. And I feel sometimes we just get so into flashier machines or exercises or the new thing that it's they they feel great, and I feel they're a nice cherry on top. But one way I described it to Griffin was if you took one of your best workouts you've recently had and you had to strip away exercises, you'd never take away the free weight movements, or the workout would not be the same. I feel if anything, I'd take my chest workout where I did, let's say a bench press, a chest press machine, cable flies, and let's say an incline dumbbell press. I feel I'd never take away the bench press or the incline. I feel I'd always be let me take out that machine. I feel the meat and potatoes of where a great physique is made and where the best workouts I've had are with free weights, dumbbell rows, barbell rows, pull-ups, dips, shoulder press with a barbell or dumbbell.
Yeah. There's something about the fundamentals of that. Not only does it train that certain muscle group, but it engages most likely your core and other things that would help build an overall
that's what
physique.
He mentioned. He was talking about how he uses barbell rows, and he was he started his back workout.
Your hamstrings and glutes would probably get developed from that too.
He started his back workout with lying leg curl, and I was that's interesting. He would do 3 sets of that, and he was I'm priming up those those hamstrings, so when I get into a barbell row positioning, I can load the hamstrings and glutes more because your legs should be tensed up, and it really should feel like a full body movement. And so when I was doing them, I didn't do leg curl to warm up, but I thought more about loading up my legs and hamstrings and tensing the legs and keeping everything tight as I did the movement. And I felt I felt it better. And really one point he nailed across, that's obvious, but why do you do a compound exercise? Because you're working so many different muscle groups, not just big muscle groups like biceps overall, but also all the little muscles, the brachialis, the wrist flexors and extensors, all these little things too, to where you're really hitting everything. And I feel sometimes when you use a pivoted machine, or even to some extent sometimes cables, you're isolating the bigger muscles, but you're not really getting all the stabilizers and things around it, to where, I don't know, I feel if you could do a study where you took 2 physiques where only used free weights and only used cables, you'd see both developed people, but I feel the person who just used isolation type exercise would just look a little funky, just because I feel like they wouldn't have the fuller rounder like look that like when you're hitting all kind of muscle fibers on like free weights would provide.
Yeah, I think there would be a few variables. There would be
Yeah,
probably
for
a
sure.
variable in strength because the overall strength of the free weight person probably would be up compared
sure.
to, you know, somebody with just machine exercises. I mean, sure, they'd be strong, but they wouldn't be able to like transfer that into other areas, probably whether it be an athletic or whatever. Range of motion probably be a little bit different and lacking in one or the other. I think it would probably be better in the free weight one. But
The big
don't know.
advantage I feel like for machines is obviously you can target a muscle like better in a sense if you're
Yeah.
already like struggling in a way to target a certain muscle group, and especially if you want to bring up something and you don't want to increase size overall in an area. And also I feel like the biggest advantage for me is I can load up a muscle and tension without really increasing my risk of injury, because like just pounding bench press and different variations and dumbbell presses over and over, eventually like your shoulders, your joints get kind of like beat up if that's all you're doing, especially if it's heavy. So at least with the machine, you can take a little bit of tension off your shoulders. You don't have to worry about racking things as much. Like there's a clear advantage, or like a leg press, you don't have to worry about your knees and hips and all these other things as much. So there's that advantage. Like machines are like important and I like them. But I was just thinking about really rethinking how I structured a lot of my workouts recently, and adding in more free weight movements, and really just thinking about, like we talked about before in our garage workouts, like intensity and being very intentful. Is that a word? Being very intentional. Intentional, not intentful. Being very intentional with each rep and each exercise or each set. And I feel like, with the free weights, I don't know. It's just a thought I had. I feel like I was adding in too much fluff and isolation work, my workouts recently.
I mean, do you, Griffin? I start off my workouts usually. I'm just thinking like when he was talking about it earlier, it is like not a cherry on top. I guess it is, but like it's usually always towards the middle or end of my workout to where I'll get to the machines. I'll start off with a free weight compound or whatever, just a free weight barbell dumbbell exercise, and then I'll be all right. Let me go now. Try and pump out some reps in a fixed position or like the flat bench hammer strength or the incline or pec deck, and not maybe focus on as much weight, more so just feeling like the contraction per se, and like polishing it off per se.
I feel like I do like machines to the extent that I feel like sometimes, like from AmFam, I used to love that single arm plate loaded row, or
I thought about getting that
those Strive. Is it Strive machines that you can set
the
where
different
you feel the
like
weight,
high, mid, low.
now
high,
prime
mid, low.
would Strive, yeah.
I used to really like there was an incline chest one that I liked.
I
a
want
lot.
them to sell that to me.
So
If you're listening.
I always used to like that, especially when I first started at AmFam, just because, especially kind of working your way around, like when you first start out, or like for me, when I was too weak to really bench or like do other things like that, just starting out, it felt good to just be like, all right, well, I can at least figure out like what feels the best, like what point of motion I can really feel that muscle engage. Now, like you said, Austin, I typically like to approach it like I'll try to just give as much as I can for the free weight stuff, and then worry about the machines kind of just loading it, but not like trying to kill myself on it, but just trying to like burn out within that like squeeze of the muscle basically. But an interesting thing is last year before the quarantine, and then subsequently during, I was trying to make this program basically that I felt like was basically essentially all free weight stuff, mostly barbell, like dumbbell, and then finishing with like a cable or like a leg extension. Because my mentality was just, I want to be able to, at the time I was going to Wolfgang, sometimes Cherry Freeze, sometimes Carey Street, sometimes Fan Golds, Willow Lawn, all these different had. Yeah, I am. Just, it's like a Mormon, which wife for which day, basically. But I wanted at least a program that I felt like, okay, I can do something, the same workout at any gym, basically. And I will say too, machine wise, I am a fan of an assisted pull up sometimes, because I
Me
just
too.
feel like I can just like sit in it sometimes and not feel like I'm just holding on for dear life. But I that was mostly all free weight and with a little bit of machine here and there. But I will say, actually, this whole year since January, since I've been doing that program and working with Wesley, I haven't done really any machine with the exception of a lat pull down. No leg extension, no leg press, no cable fly, no nothing. So it has really been interesting and kind of taking a step back, whereas my previous mentality was like try to go as heavy as I can within that rep range on free weight and then like burn out the feeling for machine. But taking a step back and really working on mind muscle connection with free weight, like a dumbbell fly or like a pullover, or even on bench just trying to feel out chest, it's really helped me feel like, oh, okay, I can build upon this now rather than just like trying to be strong on this and then work on feel on other exercises like a cable or a machine. So it's been really nice to kind of like have an incline bench actually feel like my upper chest. Even if I'm going a little bit lighter, I feel like, oh, okay, like this is the golden era, baby. Like it's gonna be a deep V
Upper
from
deck.
here on out. Yeah.
Nice.
So I don't know. It's definitely something. I like the machines we have here, but I also feel like I never come away from a workout being like, man, that blew me away. I never feel like I can get, say
Yeah,
for
that's my
example,
point.
something like a hammer strength pull down. I do love it, but I never feel like I can get comfortable in it almost. Like I always feel like, okay, like I'm a little too forward or like I'm a little too like pinched in certain areas. Like if I feel it better in my back, I feel like I kind of feel uncomfortable in my torso or my knee. Whereas like a lat pull down, just a cable, I feel better in. I don't know if that makes sense.
We were
But I
talking
will
about
say like
that
the hammer
too.
strength flat press, I do like that a lot.
Because when I talked to him about it yesterday or Saturday, one thing he brought up was cables, and I was talking to him about like I feel like cables are kind of like that like gray area to where
It's
They're-
a free weight, but with a direction.
yeah, like it's obviously
right.
still in a pulley system, but there's more freedom of movement to where you kind of get more variety as far as angles that fit your body better than a machine would. So it's kind of like that mid ground to where you're gonna get more benefit doing like a cable row or a lat pull down versus a row that's in a fixed position. Like as much as I love that Star Trek, maybe the way you're positioned with your elbows, you're not getting as natural for your like limb length and width of your back and things like that versus a cable row. You might be able to kind of hand select that a little bit better or
Yeah.
play around with your elbow angle and things more. Obviously, use all that's available to you in a gym. But I was just thinking about that more and more. I was like, the basics, man. And I was just thinking about like some of the best like physiques that people still like admire today. When you look back at like the not to be like the boomer looking at nostalgic and it's like it's better in my day, but Arnold and Frank and like these other people, when they were in their gym, like all they had was like a little bit of cable, but it was just dumbbells and a barbell.
Yeah.
And most of the time it wasn't even like an easy bar. It was like a straight bar. They'd be doing like everything with that from skull crushers to whatever. And I feel like
Good density.
sometimes all you need is a bar and a pair of dumbbells.
For sure. I don't think, to build a physique, I don't think you need anything more than a barbell and if more dumbbells.
And
but
I
But
wonder
it
if
is funny because I feel like if I were to make a home gym, I'd be like, damn, I'm deprived. Like, I only have a barbell
I
and
know.
dumbbells.
but there's bodybuilders that have built physiques
True.
technically
I'm just
off of
saying
like
right
a lot
off
of
the bat.
machines, though.
well, that's what I was going to get to is I wonder if, some of the like ultra thickness and density that we're seeing in like some of these bodybuilders nowadays is because they can isolate
And just
like
pump the
muscle
shit
groups
out of
so
it.
much more and pump the shit out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I obviously know like, the size requirements and the, the drugs they're
Yeah,
taking
drugs
now
are
are
probably
different.
hella better.
But I just wonder if that's maybe just one factor to it that like they can truly like isolate the muscles even better to where,
Yeah.
they can make like an arm just get fucking insane,
Or like a quad,
Yeah. I don't know.
Because like the craziest set of legs to come out like first was probably like Tom Platt's, right? And it was like a
True.
leg extension. They really weren't. I mean, they were probably using them back
Yeah,
in the
I
day.
I
think
think
Dorian was a
though,
big
I think
step.
back then though, you have to think about too the fact that like it's not just the muscular development, but like the whole figure or like torso or frame in general too. Because say for example, I'm trying to think of who it is, but somebody like, let's say for example, an Artemis Dolgan. You know how he has like that crazy, almost like cartoon character
Very
kind of
broad
taper.
shoulders.
You know, that doesn't necessarily mean that like, I don't know. I feel like even though the waist is small, like he was doing that like corset and like vacuum all the time, it doesn't look as powerful. I feel like it almost looks like you could just like push him over, because even though there's a tiny waist, the like figure itself is not, you know what I mean? To where even if the waist was thicker, he would have like a more domineering frame.
I mean, not that he doesn't look strong, but yes, I get it though.
To where like if you think about like more the golden era, even if people are bigger now, there's almost like, you know, they used to do so many more like pullovers to where like the rib cage was better. There's like more of a Herculean kind of physique. So it's almost like everything kind of grew around each other to where more is isolated now and bigger, to where like Arami's legs might be really big, but like there's not really that like frame to it. You know what I mean? It's hard to describe.
I feel like some physiques, like you can only build from actually being like strong or athletic or whatever, or like your physique is so much a byproduct of like your training style. Like for example, like how my legs have changed with running, or how a lot of times like we'll look at these CrossFit athletes and they'll be fucking like jacked, or like a gymnast has like these massive biceps and arms, but it's like purely obviously a byproduct of their training. But it's like in some ways, even if they did all the curls in the world, their arm like wouldn't look like that. It's like almost like a byproduct of having to have the ability matched with the physique versus, you know, most of the time in bodybuilding, you don't have to be the strongest dude in the gym, but you might look like you're the strongest dude in the gym.
Yeah.
But I feel like some physiques, to your point, Griffin, it's like, you know, it's purely a byproduct of like the variety of exercises they did, the range of motion, things like that. Versus now, I feel like we do have so many like isolation type of movements and technology that, you know, they didn't have, like they rarely do people do like deep chest flies and deep like dumbbell pullovers
or
and
even
so,
pull-ups. I feel like that's not really a thing that you see too many.
I don't know a single bodybuilder that does
bodybuilders.
pull-ups, and I get like they're heavier so it's harder, but it's like, wouldn't that be good because you're pulling heavier weight? But I mean, like even like Seth, when Ferozy, when he does his like workouts, he does that pull-up machine, which is a phenomenal machine, especially if you're trying to work towards pull-ups. But it's like, why don't you just do like body weight too, and just, you know, I don't know, it's rare. Yeah, I feel like there's some like exercises that are just like taboo nowadays in bodybuilding that people would just rather sub in a machine or, you know, cable.
Because it's comfortable, it feels good.
Part
I mean,
of
I
it.
get
And you
it.
can
less
get
injury.
strong.
Less injury.
Yeah,
less
you can
injury.
feel
I
like
get
you're...
it.
Sometimes a machine, like it's easy just to sit on down, plop one down, put that
Load up
peg in
4
there,
plates.
and it's just like, all right, I can
Coast
push
through it.
I can push through it and chill and not have to engage my core a ton, not to like grit.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you're still working, but you're not.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
But speaking of, maybe if a machine would be good after watching that pec tear or seeing that pec tear on that bench. Did you see
I
that
don't like
shit?
to look at those.
Do you wanna
things.
watch it?
No, I don't want to
Live
watch
reaction?
It.
You could
Both
show-
y'all?
no, I'm not doing it.
Oh my
I will
God.
not
like
do
to
It
watch
wasn't
that
even as
stuff.
bad as
I
y'all
will
think
not do it.
was.
I
But-
don't. The gym fail stuff. It like I can watch those gore like live leak videos and gym fail videos where it's an injury is
Because it's
worse
too
to
close
me
to
than
home.
that. Yeah,
You know which one I don't want to watch is the one on leg press where the knee inverts.
I've
Those
seen that
scare me.
before too.
And it just comes back into their
I was
face.
telling you how sometimes after my runs, like the tibial tuberosity, that not like below my knee.
Speak English.
Yeah, I know.
What are you talking about, boy?
Gets
Yo, Trick calls it he calls us, damn, not a forearm, a foreleg. That's what he called
foreleg?
foreleg.
Well, he's
And that's the hoof.
Trick,
he's
Trick
on the
said,
spectrum.
me and my foreleg down here. I said what? Foreleg? It's called a shin, dude. He's like, oh, I've been.
But anyway, so like basically my shin feels a little bruised and like tender after like, you know, long distance. And so like the next day or like later in that day, if I go to do like a deep squat, it kind of like I feel it a little bit of pain. And so like when I trained legs the next day, if I do leg press, I feel stable, but I almost just get the sensation like one day my like femur is just gonna like shove right through my knee and just compound fracture. And when I come down, and God forbid that ever happens, but that's like mentally like what I'm thinking. I'm like, this is it. it's just gonna be
go out with
blood
the bang.
everywhere.
Yeah.
I'll never walk again.
That's
Then I'll
crazy.
take a black and white photo.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Aftermath.
Yeah.
Be back tomorrow. Get some.
Yeah, go get some.
Get some.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I guess at the end of the day, I guess we can all agree that a free weights can get it done just as much as a machine.
I had another topic too that was old timey based, but it wasn't like lifting based. And I was thinking about this. I feel like Griffin, you'll find
What you
or
got?
have an interesting perspective on this. Is I was thinking about how like pretty much before like mid or early 1900s, literally the only like contract people had was like your word or a handshake. And I thought that that's like I feel like such an overlooked thing nowadays that like, people obviously have things in writing now. They have proof. You can go to court and this and that. But it's like back in the day, like all it was like, you're going to trade this land or I give you, especially like when they don't have email and you're just trusting months later when you get a messenger that they're going to do this. It was literally just like your like word and honor and just like a handshake. And it was like, cool.
I think a
And
lot
you
of
just
people
trust they don't go
stood
back
for
on it.
something back then, or they,
I feel
you
like,
cared about your.
that's what I'm getting at.
You cared about your character back
Yeah.
then,
Your respect and like your name
And,
meant something.
So I mean, there's still people like that nowadays, but it's so people want like quick and easy and like get from under you type thing, or what's in it for me type shit. And everybody has, nobody's perfect, but it's like at the end of the day, you're able to look back at yourself for like if you were to have kids and be like, damn, they could be proud of me, or like leaving a good legacy per se. It's like, I don't know, maybe when I was younger I didn't think about it as much, but now that I have my own business and realizing like people that have dicked me over the years we've been doing this, like
Yeah, well,
it
you
makes,
told me about like vaguely, about like whole manufacturer or store didn't want to work with you because
Yeah.
of things in the past. So
for sure.
I feel like I think like respect is so big, like for me as like a core value and like for life, and I just think it is such an overlooked factor in people's mind like nowadays of like standing for something or standing for your word and your word meaning something when you make a promise or say you're going to do something and doing it, or standing by someone. And I just think it's so funny, like back in the day, like it was just like a handshake and like, all right, it's on. Or
Do you think
an
there was like a
agreement.
fist fight after, or like
I feel like things were
Yeah.
rarely
I'll
like
find you.
We'll
broken.
duel in the street.
Yeah.
I would say a couple things to this. One, I feel like as things become more internet-based or globalized, it's kind of like you care more about your review or your online kind of presence or reputation more than like your actual quality, or like, I don't know, just face-to-face sort of thing. To where like if you think about a lot of companies or like franchises or something like that, how many like focus on, I don't know if you've seen like these Twitter like clapbacks or whatever that, Slim Jim says this as a reply to something and then it goes viral or something like that, to where then that
It's
makes
fake
a big
altruism.
surge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like just reviews overall in the context of something like Amazon. I can't tell you how many things I've bought that have a 5-star review and it's 1,000 5-star reviews, and then when you get it, it breaks within the week, and then I leave a bad review and the person reaches out and says, hey, we'll send you free product if you delete the review, basically. So it's very manipulative to kind of go on this like internet facade that I feel like now that everything is part of this, a greater, like the mom and pop shops are being bought out or other things like that by a bigger company, it's a lot more about just presentation, like online, view versus your actual like character, because you're now just part of this bigger entity. It's not your shop. You're not really like the manager of something. You're kind of just, you're overseen by a bigger company. And that's something I feel like my dad's company has gone through, because they used to be like a local construction company in the area, and it was kind of named after his own name basically, and then he partnered with some people and then they got bought out with a bigger company. But it's funny sometimes that for the funding or other things like that, you do lose a lot of freedoms or special things that when I used to work there, a lot of his guys would tell me, yeah, your dad, like, we would always go get breakfast together as a like company, basically, because it was maybe 9 or 10 construction worker guys on Friday morning. And then if we would work like extra hour the other days, he'd let us get off early on Friday, basically. And like we would just kind of have that worked out amongst ourselves. But then once that bigger company took over, no, that's all out. All the trucks now have GPS or like other things like that, to where, even though it might be nicer tools or like nicer trucks or other things like that, you lose that kind of, golden day of business, or kind of like, feeling like you're just a team almost, rather than that, if that makes sense. So I don't know. I would say too, in regards to that, I feel like there's a little bit lower trust as far as society goes, to where it's not just like your neighborhood grocery store or something like that anymore, that we don't really know each other that much. And that might just be because of bigger like population density in cities or other things like that. But one thing I always think is interesting, kind of related, is the shopping cart paradigm or paradox or whatever it's called. Basically, that's the sign of if you're a good person. If you return the shopping cart, it costs nothing. Basically, it won't get you anything. Takes little amount of effort and time, but it will make it easier for other people that are in the area. So it's not really like you're a bad person if you don't return it, but you are a good person if you do return it, basically. So I can't remember the exact like phrasing of it, but it's almost just like, think of that in the context of your locale or your kind of community or other things like that.
Yeah.
Do we really have people that go out of their way to try to like make their area better, or make their community better, or their business, or kind of relationships with customers or other things like that better, if that makes sense? Because if you go to like a Jiffy Lube versus a family mechanic, you're going to have a much different experience. And these people actually want you as a customer rather than just pull as much money out of your pocket as
another number.
Because like you were saying, you get a more lasting relationship with your customers because you want them for life. Like you are appreciative that they, actually took a chance on you, sort of thing. So you're not trying to just get as much as you can out of that sale, basically. You want them to be a long-term friend, or kind of see you in that light.
And not to dive too much into that, but I see it as they spend their hard-earned money with me.
Yeah. And
then there also is like a lifetime value of a customer and having them around to support me. It compounds over time, just like interest. That $100 or $50 a month could turn into thousands of dollars over a year's time, or whatever. So,
and it takes a while to build up that. Well, not really, but it takes a little bit to build up that trust. But once you have it, like, for example, some people that I might follow on Instagram or something like that, if I like your style, your attitude, and you make clothes, you make supplement or other things like that, I'll buy it from you, even if it's the same as, a bigger brand or something like that, just because I like the way you present yourself and the person you are, other things like that. So,
there's so many things like that build a connection, just, knowing the person. They actually reach out to you. They actually care. They check up with you. Unlike some of the other bigger brands or companies of whatever, they might just, hey, buy this shit and get out. Come back when you need some more type thing. So I did get a question on Instagram. Let me pull it up. I got to go back to my personal page real quick.
You got 100.
Yeah. And
I forgot to post it.
Where we at? Oh, I got to go through the notifications. Here we go.
The people are waiting.
During your fitness journey, what are some nutrition myths people preached but aren't true?
I might have a controversial one, actually.
I will answer it first, and then we can dive into it after that. Off the top of my head, now that I just read that carbs are bad, and that sugar and carbs are bad. Which
I feel like that's one of those that, like, that one and like the carbs before bed. I feel like all these things are so like obvious at some point that I guess maybe some beginners still like see them and believe them, but I feel like they're so like stated, like every Instagram account and Fit Chick and this and that like teaches you, oh, this is actually false. So it's like
normalized bloat.
I feel like it's all like I feel like it's all explained by now. One that I think about that I feel like people still agree with is that Maddie was saying the other day is I think eating red meat's fine as long as you're digesting
Hell
it well.
yeah.
I'm all for red meat.
Yeah, sure.
Not like in insane abundance, but
I mean, if you overdo anything's
exactly,
gonna be
though.
bad.
That's the thing. It goes without
You can't
saying.
be a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Like, have some balance in your life, food wise, and don't you eat fucking carbs all day? Yeah, you're gonna get fat.
Yeah,
you eat
absolutely.
meat all day, you're gonna get fat. Whatever.
My myth, I would say, is that a calorie is just a calorie. So I would
Ooh,
say,
triggered.
yeah.
Calorie
I
is
always
something
hear
else.
from these lab coats that a calorie is just a calorie. But
Break it down.
I would say, if a calorie is just a calorie, marinate your chicken in bleach, and that won't change the calorie value, but
you
you'll
went
feel a
hard
lot
there.
different, I'm sure.
Hold on.
Jesus Christ.
All right, so go kill yourself.
Yeah.
pretty much.
What I'm saying is that food is more than just a calorie value. It affects you so much differently
okay.
to where you shouldn't
I get
just
it now.
prioritize lower calorie, higher calorie, macro, this and that. Focus on the nutrition. Focus on
As
the
he eats
micronutrients.
Chipotle 3 times a week.
That's
Listen.
dire circumstances.
Yes, I definitely agree with you, Griffin.
I do.
I
too,
agree.
yeah.
Because I would say this, and this is something that back in the day of Instagram, when all those like shredded by science or like this or that, people started preaching if it fits your macros. Somebody I saw that I followed at the time said this, and it always stuck with me because he was like, if it's just about protein, carbs, and fats, I challenge you for a week to just eat for your protein, unfermented soy, for your carbs, high fructose corn syrup, and for your fats, hydrogenated oils,
Oh, your
and
body's
just
gonna be
see how
fucked.
you feel. Yeah, because you'll
sounds
hit all your
gross.
macros, but you're going to feel a lot
You can't
different.
even digest that fat, supposedly.
Yeah,
Like,
so-
hydrogenated. You can't even break it down.
So that's just something I've always thought about. And so when I see all these people just do these like macro concoctions of like Walden Farms this and like all this just like fake like test tube stuff, I just feel like I can only imagine how my stomach would feel. I would feel just gross and like lethargic and stuff. So that's the biggest thing I would say is, I think to me, clean food, there is such a thing as clean food. People just like bullshit about that, but a
Yeah, people get
calorie is
pissed
not
off you
just
say
a
that.
calorie. Like, you should be eating whole, nutritious,
Yeah.
clean foods.
I
And
feel like
if
it's,
you need to spice it up or add some sort of flavor, sure, but like your priority should not just be trying to maximize the amount of Pop-Tarts and dessert and like garbage you can eat just because it fits your macros.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like a pyramid of priorities to where it's like
Mic drop.
like from a broad standpoint, get the calories down, then the macros, and then like the whole foods and like nutritional content. Because I feel like obviously like they're all like very important, and I agree with you. Like to your point, I think the nutritional like content of the food is like more important. But I feel like for people to slowly break it down into a lifestyle they can like maintain, I feel like if you start like with just like one step at a time, working them up the pyramid, they'll kind of get there further.
True,
Does that
true.
make
It
sense?
is. You don't want to go just cold turkey into a different lifestyle.
This is
Yeah.
what I suggest.
Got to take steps.
Me fish and a rice cake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
My
at
fe-
noon, I
me
have
fish-
me rice cake. Yeah.
Sardines and protein
Fish
powder.
and rice cakes. Go for it.
Yeah. But the biggest thing I would say is for that, like, I feel like a lot of people don't really know. It's almost like you feel like you have to suffer. Because we were talking about this the other day because I was saying that I had just made like ground turkey plain
Yeah.
and didn't add anything to it. But like learning to just season or like spice your food, cook it well, like, you think about like a 5-star restaurant or like a Michelin star place. They're not adding in like sauces from a bottle and all these like boxed like flavorings or other things like that. They're just using high quality ingredients but preparing them well, or like doing good flavor combinations or other things like that. So I feel like if you learn how to just eat like nutritious or whole foods but prepare them in a way that you enjoy, like, that's the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
It's just hard to kind of figure out how to cook them right or make them actually enjoyable too. So that's the biggest thing I would say is the hump to get over.
Yeah, you're right. And when you first started off, calories aren't just a calorie.
Yeah.
I didn't think you were gonna. I don't know what I was thinking, but I was like, oh, what's he talking about? But I'm one of those people that do eat rice, chicken, like mostly whole
Yeah,
foods.
we all eat mostly whole food.
But yeah, most people when they definitely the newbies and like I don't know what the
Some people
the range
they
is.
abuse the system.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, I can get around it. I get to eat what I want because it fits.
Well, the biggest thing that is an eye opener to me too is like just people demonizing certain things or like looking at that as like something that's off limits because like let's say something like a salmon, a steak, oh, that's got a lot of fat in it or something like that, and it's like, so you're gonna just eat like a rice cake with like this, you know, protein nut butter that's got all these like gums and like sweeteners and like this and that in it, and that's like better for you because it's, you know, lower calorie or like higher protein to fat ratio.
Yeah, people's priorities are kind of fucked up. Yeah.
I take my fish oil. Yeah. What are you talking about?
Okay. Yeah, exactly. So, and because I feel like, especially when I was somewhat new into lifting, but like a little bit in, I feel like that the biggest thing was like a lot of people were making these like protein fluffs or other things like that to where it's like a large volume, but just not many calories. And that was a big thing when Walden Farms was a thing too, is okay, just because you can have like a high volume of this or be like a glutton, it's not that it's like good for you though. Like this is just something that's filling your stomach up, but it's just like empty almost.
Yeah,
you know?
Still can't abuse it.
So I don't know. That's just the biggest thing for me is I feel like learning to undo some of the things that you initially learn or like think is kind of the school of thought within like fitness or health or other things like that.
That is crazy to think. Like now that you brought that up, there are a lot of, and not this. I hate to say it, not to say it. But I hate to say it, chicks typically are worse off than dudes when it comes to like finding those alternatives of like Walden Farms or fucking some bullshit that recipe they found offline or something like snack or treat that's low calorie, low fat.
Yeah. Oh, not to keep rambling on this, but there was some guy that used to make these like macro friendly recipes, and I tried some of them.
I think Michael Corey.
Maybe that's who it was.
But
one of them, it was like a cookie dough with like chickpeas and like protein powder. And it was just like, like this is rock bottom.
And it gets to a point in your life where it's like, if you're going to do it, like the ice cream, the Halo Tops, I never really got into them. I just ate real ice cream.
Yeah.
Sometimes like I've seen like recipes where it's like, you can make like this protein version of like a Chick-fil-A sandwich. And then there's like, I see the table when the video starts and it's like 15 ingredients. I'm like, I will just have grilled chicken and like rice, you know? Like sometimes like there's so much work into some of these creative like protein meals or desserts that it's like, just have the real thing or just don't, you know?
For sure. And getting back to like the alternatives and stuff like that, you know, people will say, "Oh, well, I'm trying to stay lean. I got to. I'm competing or something like this." It's like, well, if you were competing, then you should be like eating nutritious, like whole foods, not like some bullshit.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. It's tough to see, but you can't fix stupid, man.
Yeah.
No, I tried. Doesn't work.
But you know, you can try and we try and teach. You know, you can try and teach people, and you know, but some people they're stuck in like the what's trendy and what's like. Oh, I can get away with it.
You don't know how many times I'll get a text from like an old client of mine, and they'll be like, "Hey, like I got this coming up in 3 weeks. Like, what can I do to like lose 10 pounds?" And I'm like,
"Stop eating like, now. For the next 20 days."
And they'll be like, "I know I should do X, Y, Z, but what else can I do?" And I'm like, "You just have to work out and not eat too much."
It's always frustrating. I feel like for people or for me to try to talk to people because I try to explain the importance of like building habits, but thinking like long term. And I feel like a lot of people just, you know, have you ever had somebody ask you like, "Oh, well, when can I get to the point where I can just maintain? Like I don't have to keep like pushing or something like that." Or like, you know, "Oh, I want to do this in 3 or 5 weeks or something like that." And it's like, you've been your whole life in this other lifestyle. And it's like, it's not that you can just flip one switch and then, oh, well, in this amount of time, it's going to be good. And then you can go back when you're not feeling like it anymore. It's like, you need to turn those stones over one at a time, but then think down the road how different of a person you'll be or how much more natural that lifestyle will come to you, basically.
Yeah, people think of like working out as a hobby or like dieting as like a hobby. And it's like really you should have a lifestyle built around healthy eating and physical activity. And anything other than that for most people is not going to lead to a happy, fulfilling life.
And it doesn't have to be like bodybuilding.
It doesn't have to be competitive. It doesn't have to be intense. Just move your body a few times a week for like 30 minutes, you know, and then just mostly eat whole foods.
It
And
is
you'll probably
crazy to me
be great.
too. How do you ever think about like how many people's experience or perspective is like based around, and I guess it makes sense, but like their middle or high school, like, oh, I played football in high school, or oh, I did this, and it's like that just like is the seed for the rest of your life, basically, that you compare everything to. And so it's funny to just think like, I guess, you know, it makes sense, I guess, after you're in the real world or like out of college that you focus on other things. But it's crazy to just think that like you get into this set routine, or like, you know, we did this back in this day, and like that's all we have to kind of look at for the rest of our lives, basically, of like, oh, the activity stopped at high school football, but like that's the only thing you.
How many of y'all have seen like, especially guys, but I feel like it's prevalent in girls too, is like, you know, you'll see one girl and she was like athletic, look good, nice like legs and like ass and things like that, and like, you know, middle school, high school athletics. And then they go to college and they're not playing for like, you know, D1 sport or anything. They're not playing a sport anymore. They don't pick up exercise, and they just start drinking more. And then you look at them just within like 6 months, and you're like, what the fuck? Like,
that's the
legs
biggest
are
thing.
so soft. Like, body's just gone. And it's for guys too. Like, yeah, it's chin. It's like,
this is really the age I feel like I'm noticing when people don't take care of themselves. How it's like, damn, like, because sometimes I don't know. I still feel like I look kind of the same as I did when I was 18.
Sometimes I'll look at like more overweight or obese people, and not in like a mean way, but I'll look at them and I'll think like, how do you let yourself get there? And it's just slow like progression to where it's like, you know, I'm just like, how does a body look like that sometimes? And it's just, lack of movement.
Yeah, the biggest thing is how easy it might be to just have comfort to kind of rule your life, sort of thing. Everything that,
convenience,
you know,
comfort.
work is already hard enough, or like, you know, the stresses of bill paying or debt or student loans or other things like that, that you don't want to then add another physical stress or like mental
I deserve
exhaustion.
to sit on the couch.
Yeah,
I deserve to like
let
eat
me
this
do
food.
Yeah, people
Uber
give
Eats.
themselves too much lenience.
Because I used to train this one girl that she was a great person, and you know, we did make some strides. I haven't seen her in a while, but she did always come clean of like, yeah, I work like this crazy schedule because I have a high paying job. It took me a lot to get there, but it's like a 12-hour day basically, in like all like no windows, fluorescent lighting, basically, that I'm just looking at a computer screen or other things like that. And then I'm just like drained when I get home. So she would just Uber Eats and like comfort food, basically mozzarella sticks, like 3 or 4 appetizers from this place. And it was just one of those things we would just try to keep a tally basically during the week of how many times did you Uber Eats. But it's really hard, I feel like, when, you know, if you have that as an outlet or like a comfort, what do you replace that with that's as fulfilling as that, you know? So it's hard to get people to shift that habit when it's like, okay, well, we got a meal prep, but like, is that really enjoyable to look forward to when you get home after a day like that? So it's hard to kind of switch that pleasure, that fulfillment, you know?
Here's the question. Would you rather make, and obviously we all know, like, we have the drive and goals and ambition to, like, if we were to make over 6 figures or more, like, be in that situation. So, like, you make over 6 figures, but, like, you're dead when you get home. You don't want to, you know, you're that person. You just want to be comfortable. Or make 30 grand a year, 25 grand a year, but, like, be active, just, like, enjoying life a little bit more.
Absolutely.
But I think I'm the person where I would realize, hey, there's another way to make that amount of money.
People just look at things like wrong. And, you know, it's, listen to your story about your client, like her job and everything. It made me think about this one MMA analyst that I follow. Like, he was talking about his old profession one day, where he used to be like a not a speechwriter or anything, but he'd like kind of write, I don't know, he'd write things, or he might write speeches or look over them for like politicians and lobbyists and things like that. And he was saying how he felt so ethically immoral and wrong, and the work drained him so much that literally he was like, his body was deteriorating, his fingernails were like falling out and things like that. He was so like mentally and physically stressed,
anxiety,
and just all these things. Just, he hated his job that bad that like he was just deteriorating. I feel like a lot of these people, they're in these cubicles, they're working a job that they don't like. They're kind of like just existing through life and just passively going through these things, and like their profession that they like, you know, went through this degree or worked through so many years to go through, is just draining them and just making them live like this miserable like life, and I feel like they just don't naturally like think, oh, I can just step away or do something less. They think about, well, at least I'm getting paid well.
Yeah,
like they
it's
have that false
same
financial
kind of thing though, like the comfort of, you almost get limited by just thinking that, oh, if I leave, like I won't have health insurance for a bit, or like I won't have those benefits.
And
or
at
like,
least they know what their next day looks like. They know they're going to get up at 6, go to work at 9. They're like, that's familiar to them.
I guess it's just being scared.
Yeah,
to, like,
understandably,
jump,
but
to get out of it. But fuck being like a prisoner of your own body,
Yeah,
that's true.
I would just start. I mean, I'm not that far off to where if I wanted to, I could jump and start something new and just go off the grid type thing. But even if I was making 6 figures, seven figures, whatever, like, and I was that unhappy, I would definitely transition out as quickly as I could to like doing something, living way below my means to make sure I could get by and start working on something that I was actually passionate about or felt purpose, behind.
Well, and not to say that they don't, but if you have money but nothing else, no habits, no like other elements of your life that like you can build off of, then you realize that money's not all it's cracked up to be by that point, to where like I feel like you said, if I was making 30 grand, which for a long time I've been making less than that, but it's like I still feel like I know how to meal prep, I know how to make that budget work to where like I feel fulfilled in so many other areas that then I feel like, okay, well, I'm free to then just compound upon like trying to make more money, because all the other areas of life, I feel like I've gotten a good habit or routine or like, thing instilled in, if that makes sense. I have an
analogy that'll bring it all together. Money is the machines in your life, and everything else is the free weights. You got he's cracked it.
The Matrix.
You gotta have purpose, meaning, passion, every day in your life as the framework of your day, and those free weights. And the money is just the machines. It's the extra pump that you can get. It's the extra volume you can add to your life when it's there. But if that's all you have, though, then and you're missing the passion and the excitement and the purpose in your life, you're just gonna be dragging through the workout. Dragging through your life.
Yeah.
Boom.
I like that.
Mind blown.
Fuck.
Smash that like button.
Smash that like button. I did, by the way. I just got a buzz on my phone. I was like, oh, let me check.
Another question?
I just got another question 6 minutes ago.
Live question.
Yeah, live questions.
You have just won.
Coming at you live.
Cherry Freeze.
This is a good one. Do you ever see Iron Built outgrowing its current environment?
Might be a conversation for off camera. But it's hard to say. We've only been open for it'll almost be 5 months in like a week.
Stay tuned for Iron Built Land.
Iron Built 2, yeah. Opening of the Krusty Krab 2.
Iron Land.
Iron Land.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. There's a lot of things that have to go on. We're probably hiring our first employee soon, so that's a big step. We just surpassed 100 members, and a bit past that at this point. A few weeks ago, and things are going really well, and we appreciate all the support, and it's been phenomenal. We got, like I said, so much more stuff just coming every month, every week is new stuff. So I mean, we'll see. I think 5 years, it's so hard to look in the future. 5 years ago, I was like a freshman in high school. So it's it's crazy 5 years from now where I'll be, where all of us will be, where GYMFLO will be. Yeah. Because it's only been 5 years as a company, right?
Yeah.
So.
And like maybe 2 years, like actually doing something with it.
Yeah. But anyway, so really good question, but it's so hard to say. But I can at least say like the goal is fill out the machine room with more machines, higher quality machines. We have plans for that. Continue to upgrade the free weight room with better racks, better this and that. And really just maximize the space. We're not just going to have like everything, but what we do have, we want it to be highest quality, be premium, and just grow the community. Everyone in here kind of naturally has become friends, especially with people that come around this consistent time, and that's what we want it to be. It was, very community first, and when you get here, everybody, and you feel comfortable and happy, and it's a family here.
For sure.
So more of that.
And me and Brock, we were talking earlier this morning, stressing over like what we could do more into the near future for events and community building things. So, it's always
Water
something.
Balloon fight.
Yay! Well, we were talking
white
about
t-shirts.
white T-shirt, car wash.
Nice.
That's what really brings the community together.
Yeah.
But
Huge Def Leppard.
yeah, cherry pie warrant. Yeah.
Yeah, well, orange. I was thinking
Yeah.
pour some sugar on it.
Oh yeah, that's a good one
Yeah.
too.
But cherry pie would be the go-to
Yeah.
song for that.
But that is crazy to think, man. Yeah, because I know we talked a little bit about it last time, but this place is still so young, so green,
Yeah.
and
a newborn.
yeah, it's cool to see what happens with the first summer coming up.
It's a good way to end the podcast.
Yeah.
It's
All right,
been a good
y'all.
one.
That's it for this Monday. We will catch you all next time. Make sure you keep up to date on the GYMFLO site for the Cherry Freeze launch that
And
is
if you
this
have
coming
thoughts
Friday.
on any of the topics we talked about, drop them in the comments or share the podcast. Mention us on the story.
Yes.
Love to hear your thoughts as far as the handshakes and the old timey deal making or free weights. What do you feel about machines and things like that?
Yeah.
And like you said, share the podcast. Check out Cherry Freeze Friday.
For sure. And make sure you follow us all on social media. The description below to find the tags and whatnot. And we will see y'all today, folks.
That's
Seizure.
all.
And that's all, folks. See y'all next week. We're out of here.